It's been a while since we've gone over some comments made about the Vancouver Canucks' most expensive player. Let's talk today about EP40, Elias Pettersson, because when it comes to some recent comments made by one Farhan Lalji on the Sekeres and Price show, I wanted to go over some of these thoughts and just kind of, feel things out, test the waters, kind of get an idea as to what Canucks fans are feeling about Pettersson, because I think this is a good opportunity to kind of just check in with where we're at. So, EP40 Elias Pettersson is entering the maybe biggest prove-it season that he will ever be a part of in the NHL. 31-32 is when his current contract expires. He's making $11.6 million a year at 25 years old, and he's coming off a year where he had 89 points in 82 games played. Now, to be fair, that's not a bad point production metric. Is it worth 11 points something? You could say maybe in today's NHL that's pretty good, but you would prefer for Pettersson to continuously be a 100-point guy like he was last year. 102 points, 80 games, 39 goals. This year, he had a decline in point production, but a lot of that had to do with inconsistency rather than him just being bad. There were segments throughout the year where Pettersson was legitimately best in the league caliber, but a big chunk of the end of the season, a big chunk after the All-Star break, this is when he was really ineffective and not as consistent. He was not confident either. You could see it in his body language. The guy just was not himself. And that carried over into the playoffs, where he only had 6 points and 1 goal in 13 games as the Vancouver Canucks lost in 7 to the Oilers in round 2. EP40 was not where he needed to be in the Stanley Cup Playoffs, and even in the postseason press conference, he talked about how he had been playing like crap, and no, he did not use the word crap, he used the word that rhymes with it. And now we had ourselves a segment on Sekeres and Price from earlier this week on the 13th, where Farhan Lalji goes out there and talks about how the pressure is going to be immense on that young man. Now, I'll leave a link in the description to 2 things. Firstly, we've got the actual video where Farhan Lalji says this, and then we have ourselves an article on CanucksDaily.com, because Cooper Godin went out there and transcribed the quotes made by Farhan Lalji, so it's easier for us to screenshot and put it on the screen and follow along. Take a look at what Farhan Lalji said on the recent Sekeres and Price episode. Here's my thing for you on Elias Pettersson. I mentioned this to you in Sekeres. My comparable is Julio Rodriguez in the Seattle Mariners system and Elias Pettersson in Vancouver. 2 guys that are elite, generational talents, 2 guys that have had very, very bad seasons, and 2 guys that are flat out getting paid. And it kills me that I'm even talking about this, but if that last 30 games going into the playoffs carries over into the first month of the season with the weight of that contract, come on, boys. There's going to be for a guy that has a difficult time eliminating the noise, there's going to be immense, immense pressure on that young man, Lalji said. And that, of course, is something that I don't think anybody is going to disagree with. And honestly, I like the response that we're seeing here from Elias Pettersson. The only things we've seen about him in the offseason so far, he had the local newspaper interview that he did with the Anya Press, talking about how he is starting up a hockey camp and he's tutoring kids as to how to play hockey, stuff like that. That's cool, right? We didn't see much about him beyond that. And then I think he got some salmon in the mail, and he posted about it on his Instagram story. He's not going out there living the high life, or at least if he is, he's not posting about it. He's not going out there with big vacations. He's not doing some huge, amazing, fantastic things, jumping out of planes and seeing the moon. He's not doing any of that. He's just seemingly chilling out. And I had seen some people go out there and say, hey, Elias Pettersson's lack of a social media presence. He's not, touring Vancouver, going to thrift shops, taking pictures with rappers, and, doing the things that he was doing before. I mean, I get why he was doing that. Young guy, Vancouver, BC. He's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of connections. You want to spend some time downtown. Vancouver is a really great place to be if you've got money. 100%. But for Elias Pettersson to kind of take all that and understand, I think, more so the expectations that come with that money, it's hey, he knows that he played like crap last season. And heading into next year, Elias Pettersson is one of those guys that just has that unwavering desire to be his best. He's always trying to improve. We've known this about Pettersson ever since he was drafted by Vancouver in 2017. He's a gamer. He might not be the heaviest guy out there. He might not be the biggest guy. But he's a tall, lanky guy who needs to start learning how to use his body mass to his advantage so he doesn't get shoved off the puck as much as he does. And he's got to be able to learn how to consistently fight pressure and produce when other top team defenders are going out there trying to shut him down. He did get shut down last season, and it's up to him to prove that he is belonging of that $11 million contract by showing that he can still get results even with those things going against him. Petey is good enough to be fantastic. He just wasn't fantastic last year. If the Vancouver Canucks are able to get a fantastic Elias Pettersson and a fantastic JT Miller, they get two 100-point guys, then what, is that going to be the first time in Canucks history that there would be two 100-point scorers on the Canucks at the same time? In the same season, I mean, right? I mean, Henrik and Daniel both got 100 points in separate seasons, so, that's something to think about. I know they had like a few 100-point guys at different parts of their history, but Gilney, Naslund, I don't know if they happened at the same time, though. Yeah, no, that's a little bit odd. But the point is, it's possible. Everybody knows that Pettersson is good enough to do it, and Miller, I feel like it's more of a foregone conclusion that if the Canucks are better next year, they have more consistency with their offense, and they're able to continue with their Pacific winning results from last year into next year. JT Miller, I feel, has so much confidence in himself and all of these fans. We all have confidence in JT Miller, too. I feel like if you had predicted a JT Miller 100-point season for 2024-2025, nobody would bat an eye. They'd just be like, okay, yeah, that's possible. Like, great. He's very well capable of doing that. For Pettersson, it's a little bit different now. People are starting to doubt him. And maybe they should. Maybe this is good. Maybe with more expectations and more of a direct sort of thinking about Elias Pettersson, if he's able to get that and internalize that sentiment, it maybe improves his game. Who really knows? Also, you can say that the line mates that he's going to be playing with are going to be so much better than the ones that he had last year. I mean, sorry, Ilya Mikheyev, Sam Lafferty, y'all are bums in comparison to Jake DeBrusk and Niels Höglander, Daniel Sprong, this rotating cast of guys that will probably be around Petey this upcoming year. So if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about how the pressure is going to be on for Elias Pettersson and what this will mean for his 2024-2025. Lalji proposes the disaster scenario on the Sakaris and Price show, saying that if Elias Pettersson's playoffs bleeds into his 2024-2025 start, then I don't even want to try to imagine what Canucks fans will respond to in that scenario. I mean, he'll have all the scrutiny that he had last year, but with even more ramifications. Hey, he's an 11-point-whatever million dollar bum. It was okay when he was making less. Now he's making way more. They should have traded him. They should have let him sign an offer sheet. They should have gotten rid of this guy, yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, I get it. Canucks fans can be very feisty. We all still have to acknowledge that Pettersson's 24, 25 years old. Like, he'll be fine. I'd said this a bunch over the past few months here, but I think by the time Pettersson's current contract is over, a lot of people will look back on it and say, yeah, that was a great deal. The guy provided some good hockey. It's just right now, it's that transitory period. We've got the growing pains coming in right now, and we got to see how he bounces back from it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Elias Pettersson and the pressure that will be cooking. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.